Happy Thursday to you and yours, and welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. It is July 10th. I'm Bobby Trossett. She's Sarah Ellison. On your way in, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that notification bell, maybe consider becoming a channel member or a member of our Patreon community or joining the Discord group, because our soft launch for the Vault's inaugural first ever merch line is coming up in the next several days, and we want you to have access to that soft launch. So all that and more is what we have coming up, including the content, which, as you see in the title, a former NFL quarterback by the name of Kurt Benkert, who backed up Aaron Rodgers for many years in Green Bay. Sarah has a controversial tweet, I should say, that's getting some run on X that we're going to kind of react to as it relates to Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and of course the umbrella over all of it is Andy Reid, the head coach of the Chiefs. After that, we'll take a look at what Odafe Oweh had to say and kind of saying the quiet part out loud while we were on vacation. And can Derrick Henry surpass the great Emmitt Smith? That and a whole lot more. It's great to see you looking very festive and colorful over there.
Listen, this is one of those days. I love it when I do my high fitness workouts at 9, because then I'm coming from there straight into our show and then this. So I just always have more energy coming from these workouts on Thursday. So I put this on because I'm feeling colorful today, Bobby. I'm feeling energized.
I'm going to be dipping into as much of that energy as I possibly can from you, because I skipped my workout today, slept like 10 hours, and I'm still feeling like totally in a post-Asia funk. So yeah, hopefully that's contagious over the next hour or so. But let's get to Kurt's tweet. Kurt Benkert, as I mentioned, former NFL backup quarterback. He's in the film game now. We've used some of his stuff before. Got a great YouTube channel, is highly active in the media world. And he had this to say just yesterday. Ranked the 3 top quarterbacks in his mind. 1, Lamar. 2, Josh Allen. 3, Patrick Mahomes. And that's how he says, hey, this is how I'd rank these 3. If you don't think Lamar or Josh would have at least 1 Super Bowl with Big Red by now, I don't know what to tell you. Big Red, of course, is the nickname of Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Your reaction to this? We got tagged on it a couple times, and we wanted to chat about it a little bit because Kurt obviously is knee-deep in the film game, as I mentioned here, after his playing days have come and went. And this is a dude that obviously played with one of the best ever. There he is with number 12 during his time in Green Bay.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, I don't know anybody in Baltimore is going to be angry about putting Lamar number 1. My question is, sometimes these rankings are heading into that season, right? So for right now, like, all these guys are ranked ahead of Aaron Rodgers. But if we were talking about a career, Aaron Rodgers suddenly gets boosted up. So I don't know if he's talking about going into 2025 or if he's talking about their careers where they're at right now. And so obviously Mahomes has the rings. Mahomes has the hardware. Mahomes keeps knocking out Josh and Lamar. And maybe it's because of his second point there. But to me, I just don't know how I couldn't have Mahomes number 1 given his success. But yes, I would put Lamar above Josh. But that takes us to his second point. So in his view, he would still put Lamar 1 and Josh 2 behind Mahomes, and says, if you don't think Lamar or Josh would have had at least 1 Super Bowl with Big Red, meaning Andy Reid, right? That Correct. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. So, I'm curious if he's only talking about Andy Reid. Like, is Andy Reid coming over to the Bills and taking that whole roster as is? Is Andy Reid coming over to the Ravens and taking that whole roster as is? Or are those quarterbacks being implemented into the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, if we go back and Lamar had Tyreek Hill and had Travis Kelce and had that squad, I think that also plays into it, because I don't know that Andy Reid could do much with those 2019 wide receivers, Bobby, that Lamar Jackson had. Or we're talking about Willie Snead and Roberts and guys that I don't even know if I can remember all their names or whatever. So no doubt in my mind, coaching in Baltimore held Lamar back in the years of 2020, 2021, and 2022. I thought that they were fine with the way they were evolving from his rookie year and then into his sophomore year where they went 14-2. But I really do think that coaching held him back for those years and took too long to move on from Greg Roman, who couldn't evolve into a more complete offense. So if you give him Andy Reid instead, listen, I mean, these hypotheticals, they're unanswerable. You're never going to know. But is it reasonable to think that if Andy Reid were there, he could have evolved Lamar Jackson quicker? Like, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Now, the Ravens' issues, though, and we're going to get to this in a different topic, the Ravens' issues aren't necessarily, roster construction, maybe not 2023, but or the year they got knocked out in the AFC Championship game. But I don't know if it was coaching. We're going to get to this later. Odafe Oweh said the quiet part out loud of what's really getting in their way. But I don't think it's crazy to think that Andy Reid and Lamar Jackson, that would be a super fun duo to watch over all of these years.
I think Andy's greatest testament, as you look at his resume throughout the Mahomes era, which dates back to 2017-ish, is the fact that they lost Tyreek Hill. When I say lost, they let Tyreek Hill leave their building, and they did not blink. Did they?
Kept winning Super Bowls.
I mean, that's probably putting it lightly. They didn't blink. They literally moved forward seamlessly without Tyreek Hill and put on a masterclass for how you move forward, how you continue to replace with different gadget guys and speed kills. We saw it in week 1 last year in a rematch of that AFC Championship, just how much speed killed the Ravens defensively. They had no answers in the middle part of that field, in the underneath pass coverage, with the middle part of the field being totally exploited by Big Red. So, a lot of this is hype, right? A lot of this is in this speculation hypothetical game, but Kurt and many others in NFL circles clearly understand the impact that Andy does have. It was just it was just earlier this week where we were sharing some commentary from Anquan Bolden, who essentially said, coaches only go so far to an NFL locker room and an overall team's success. Andy might be the exception to that. And I would love to hear Anquan's thoughts on that, because what he's done in Kansas City, as much as it's been about Patrick Mahomes, Sarah, and his moxie and his unwavering ability and the unflappability that he's brought to that team, Andy's sort of been the straw that stirs that entire drink operationally wise.
Yeah, I want to look at, again, I guess he might be talking more career with these rankings. That was my question coming off the top, because he's talking about Lamar and Josh would have had a Super Bowl right now. So he's talking about career. So I don't know that I could put Mahomes number 3. However, if we were talking about going into the 2025 season, Mahomes' numbers aren't anything to write home about. So let me bring in ESPN's passing leaders from last year. And Mahomes is behind Lamar in total passing yards by over 200. And guess what? Lamar also added just under 1,000 rushing. You know what I mean? And so then you look at the touchdowns over here. Look at these touchdowns. Lamar's got 41 to Patrick Mahomes' 26. And then the interceptions. Lamar's 4 to Patrick Mahomes' 11. The defense certainly carried them last year. Just for fun, let's go look at 2023.
Yeah.
Let's see where these guys are at. Mahomes is number 6 here. Lamar is a little bit further down at 15. But, again, not much going on. So if we were talking about going into 2025, I'd be fine with these rankings from Kurt. I can't do it for a career, because I do think when you're talking about career, you have to put in the postseason. And he's saying that Lamar and Josh would have gotten at least 1. Well, how many does Mahomes have? He's got 3. Is he up to 3 now?
Yeah, Patrick has 3.
Yeah. So I just have a hard time for a career putting Mahomes number 3. But there's no way to answer this definitively. But man, Lamar and Reed, it would seem like they could for sure do it. It seems like they could do it.
Sarah, ironically, our friend Emery Hunt from footballgameplan.com on my timeline here just responded to Ryan Clark, who is talking essentially about how Joe Burrow is everywhere right now because that Netflix series just dropped again, the second series with quarterback. And
I just started watching it last night.
It's I can remember watching the first edition last year a little bit, which was what Marcus Mariota, Kirk Cousins, and there was a third, and of course I forget now. But this year Joe is one of them, and Ryan Clark just tweeted a couple minutes ago, Joe Burrow is everywhere right now. Quarterback lifted the hood into one of the best and most interesting players in the league. Where does he rank on your top quarterbacks? If you have a list where he's lower than 4, your list is wrong. Well, who quote tweets that with a little sarcasm? Our guy Emery, and look at his top 10 list. This threw me for a loop. Emery Hunt's top 10 quarterbacks has Mahomes and Lamar 1 and 2, which I think a lot of people would agree with.
Yeah, that's a good list. See, well, this is why we have Emery on. This is just smart right here. We've got on smart guests.
Now, wait a second, though. I love my guy. How does he have Jalen 3, though?
Because he has a Super Bowl now. And I know he's got a phenomenal team around him. He's got a great receiving core. He's got a great offensive line. He's got a great running back. He's got a great defense, all of that. But obviously Emery is giving him love for a Super Bowl ring.
I guess so. He's putting the postseason resume, which is really, you can stack it up against anybody in recent years. Jalen has been superb, not only in the postseason, but when it's mattered the most in the 2 Super Bowls that he's played. One that he's lost, one that he's won this past February. So anyway, for the audio-only audience, Emery Hunt's top 10 quarterbacks is Mahomes, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, rounding out his top 5. So, of course, what's he doing here? He's kind of dragging Ryan, saying, oh, you don't think that Burrow can be outside the top 4? Well, here's my list, big guy. And then 6 through 10 is Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, and Matthew Stafford. Jaden Daniels has got to be in this top 10, and I think Jalen Hurts, if we're looking at the full body of work, has to be outside the top 5. Those are my 2 gripes.
Well, so speaking more to the Joe Burrow conversation that Ryan Clark is basically saying, if he's not, in your top 4, then you're wrong. This is crazy to me. I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. And I can already tell after watching, I didn't watch the whole first episode. I watched like the first 15 minutes or so. I plan on watching it all. I can tell I'm going to like Joe Burrow. Okay. Maybe he'll do something. I can't wait to watch when he gets beat by the Ravens. I'm looking forward to this whole series. So it seems like a great guy, and he's a great quarterback. But this is bananas to me because Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are in the same division. And the moment that Lamar Jackson stepped on campus, when he is healthy, the Ravens go to the playoffs. Nobody can deny that. There is no ifs and buts about it. Lamar Jackson is healthy. The Ravens are a playoff team. And before Lamar Jackson stepped on campus, between that time and the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, they had 1 playoff win. They were missing the playoffs frequently between the Super Bowl and when Lamar came. Lamar turned everything around with wide receivers we just talked about in 2019. And it's no excuses ever. He does it. Joe Burrow is in the same division, and he hasn't done that. He hasn't. And Bobby, because people will say, well, what about how bad his defense is? I get that. But also on the other side of that coin is Joe Burrow has to constantly be playing from behind. And so he's slinging that ball. You don't think that Mahomes would have more yards in 2025 if his defense wasn't so good? He didn't have to take risks. You don't think that Lamar Jackson's numbers could even be higher in past years? He didn't, if his defense wasn't always coming through. And then last year, the defense didn't come through. And what do you know? Lamar Jackson put up some career numbers again. And so Josh Allen over there has the benefit of being in a terrible division. And so why Joe Burrow continues to get the benefit of the doubt, and I get that he's a good quarterback and a good guy, but he's in the same division with Lamar. And Lamar takes the Ravens to the playoffs nonstop when he's healthy, and Joe Burrow doesn't, period. And so he can definitely be argued into the top 4 or out of the top 4, in my view, which is why I agree with Emery Hunt.
I'm fine with him being in top 5 for sure. And obviously, we're years removed now from his Super Bowl appearance in which he lost. But I think a lot of pundits still give him major style points for that appearance, even though, to your point, postseasons have been hard to come by for Joe Burrow and the Bengals in recent seasons. So that was a little impromptu top 10 quarterback list for you on top of what Kurt Bankert gave us to start things out. And now we're continuing to talk quarterback, Sarah, with a little bit of predictions coming up here.
Yeah, so this is kind of funny. So on Speak with Joy Taylor and her panel, they put together this graphic called The Real Quarterbacks of the NFL, obviously a little spin off of like the Real Housewives series that goes from city to city. Okay. And so they put in some quarterbacks here that just either have them, they're just probably the hottest names, right? Not necessarily all of them are the best, although there's certainly several of them on this list. But you'll notice that Josh Allen isn't on here. So they put in some names who just get a lot of media attention. And what's hilarious to me is that 4 of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks that they put together are in the AFC North.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I got to bring this in. So for those in the audio only, here are the real quarterbacks of the NFL that Speak put together that maybe they've got a little bit more drama around them just because the media is around them. You've got Aaron Rodgers, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Shedeur Sanders coming in, even though he's not guaranteed a starting spot. And then you've got Joe Burrow. And then they started asking questions that you have to pick one quarterback of this list. So I'm going to pose the questions to us. Okay, you got to choose from these guys here, Bobby. Let's give our answers. Okay, of these real quarterbacks of the NFL, who is going to have the best record in 2025?
Just to clarify once more, you're saying just with these players on the screen?
Just with these players on the screen.
Best record, Patrick Mahomes.
So you predict like a kind of a comeback year, although they always win a lot anyway.
For them, it'll be a comeback year. For everybody else, they'll be like, wow, that's an exceptional season. But I'll go with Mahomes.
I would go with Mahomes. I'd say Lamar could push him.
Well, sure. Yeah, he's going to be neck and neck. I'm just saying if Kansas City continues, they'll continue to be a 13-14 regular season win team as long as he's there. That's just my view on it.
Yeah. And what was your prediction for the Ravens? Remind me for the season.
I had them at
12 or 11.
What did I have them at?
I can't remember now. I know I was ahead of you, but I don't remember where you were or where I was.
Actually, I do now. You were 13-4. I was 12-5.
Okay. And I haven't seen the Kansas City Chiefs schedule, but obviously the Ravens go like
they're on
it. The Ravens are on it.
Yep.
And the Ravens like first 7 games are like all playoff teams from last year, something crazy like that.
And remember, aside from Cleveland in terms of strength of schedule, there's no other team that's got it harder on paper than the Ravens.
Right.
So just that's part of my reasoning for 12-5, and obviously that's a playoff team and probably not going to run through Baltimore as it did in 2023, but they're in the postseason.
Okay, who on this list, I think this is easy, so we might need to take him out of it. Who on this list is going to have the worst record?
I don't even know if Shedeur is going to have a record.
That's the thing. It's like it would be the Browns. So why don't we take Shedeur out?
Yeah, I think that's fair because I mean, based on OTAs and minicamp, he wasn't even getting first team reps.
Right.
So unless there's injuries, unless Flacco, isn't who he was in Cleveland a couple years ago, he's not even going to get an opportunity because Dylan Gabriel might be out in front of him. Kenny Pickett might be out in front of him. We'll have to see.
It's funny how you said that, though. You're like, is Shador even going to have a record?
Oh, of course. Yeah. And of course the chat's going to be like, oh, he hates him. He hates him. No, it's just facts. Worst record. I'm going to go Brock Purdy in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since he's got paid, now it's going to be all on his shoulders, right? And Lamar's gotten paid, and he just seems to elevate guys, although the Ravens are still spending money. Yeah, I'd say Brock. I'd say Aaron Rodgers right behind him.
Yes. And so just a little bit of context on that, because I'm on record for saying that I think a ceiling for Pittsburgh is 10.
Yeah.
More realistically, I could see them around 9 and 8. So if that's the case, I do see San Francisco back-to-back seasons being under 500.
What are you thinking of Bengals?
Cincy record-wise?
Yeah, this division's just going to eat each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, I see them being a playoff team. What did we say yesterday? What did I say yesterday? 3 of the 4 will get in. Not named Cleveland. So
they're going to be right around 9 or 10 too then. In order to get in.
I could see them taking the division.
You could see it, but are you predicting it?
We haven't done true predictions on that yet, but if I have the Ravens at 12-5, then
you think the Bengals are going to have 13?
I could see
or maybe 12 and they win a tiebreaker?
Could see it. Could definitely see it.
I hate it when you do that.
What?
I could see a lot of things.
You're asking for a lot of predictions over here today. Oh, girl.
Okay, let's move on. All right. Most likely to miss the playoffs, which kind of goes hand in hand with who has the worst record.
Right. Still San Fran for me.
Yeah. So let's just move on. Okay. So this last question is interesting to me, and I'll pull in some clips for this, both from Speak, but also from Mina's show. So this is most likely to win the MVP out of these guys.
Yeah. Lamar all day long.
Okay. I'm going to play a clip for you. And I want to talk about one little comment that got in there that piqued my interest. Here we go.
Back is most likely to win MVP, TJ.
Ooh, this really gonna surprise Paul from what he just said.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ooh, I believe we will have a team season the way we should have had last year. Joe Burrow's gonna win MVP.
Okay, that's not surprising given. I mean, I know TJ Houshmandzadeh played for the Ravens for like a minute, but obviously he's a Bengal at heart. And so him picking Joe Burrow and predicting a comeback season for the whole team. So there's TJ.
I have Mahomes. I do think that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens will have a better record, but I think that Mahomes getting guys back healthy, coming off of a really bad loss in the Super Bowl, they'll have a chip on their shoulder. It might be Travis Kelce's last season. I think he's going to get back to a really good statistical season.
My MVP next year is a guy who's been to the top of the mountain as MVP, and now it's time for him to return after taking a year off. I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Making another run at MVP.
Wow. See, I feel like the voters are going to have a hard time giving him yet another.
I wouldn't argue with that, though. I wouldn't argue with that. Lamar Jackson's getting better every year. Every year he's been in the league, he's gotten better.
And he never doesn't look MVP level.
That is true.
Okay, so that last one from, what'd you say his name is? Rick? I wrote down the name, but...
Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher. Couldn't read my own handwriting. So that was interesting from Rick. So Paul Pierce is like, yeah, it's Lamar. So he's with you. And they all say the truth. Lamar, every year when he's healthy, looks like an MVP. He's always in the conversation. Always. But the reason that Rick gave to say, oh, really, Lamar? I think voters are going to have a hard time giving it to him. And then he kind of trailed off. And I was like, I wonder if it's because what people were saying last year was his reasoning that, well, Lamar hasn't succeeded enough in the postseason, and so they don't want to give it to him? Or is it because he's already had 2, so is he referring to voter fatigue? But you think it's the latter. Okay. Yeah. But here's what's interesting.
Matter of fact, it screams the latter. As soon as he said it, I said, it just screams voter fatigue.
Yeah, he did say, he goes, the voters are going to have a hard time giving it to him again. So that's more voter fatigue. I hate that. I hate that argument. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so, but to his point, the MVP, as we have learned, is for sure a narrative award when the candidates are close. Like if there's somebody that's just running away with it and narrative can't even get in there, then, you know, people just have to like tip their cap and give a vote. But if it's close as it was last year, it becomes a narrative award. So just so happens that Mina on her podcast and Robert Mays kind of randomly got on this topic. And he talked about how he thinks because of voter fatigue, it was actually a good thing for Lamar, and Lamar could be back squarely in the conversation.
My Zag take is that it was a good thing for the Ravens fans are still pissed about it. Like there were people in my mentions this week talking about how Lamar or the Josh Allen MVP was a pity MVP, whatever. Okay. But my Zag take is that it's actually a good thing for the Ravens that Lamar did not win the MVP. Because now you can do this like weird twisted thing where he feels slighted.
Nobody believes in us.
If he had won 2 in a row, is it actually a bad thing for the Ravens Super Bowl chances? I'm sticking with that.
We do an awards pod every year, and I feel like Lamar MVP is, because he didn't get it last year, is a great bet for, I don't know what the odds are, I haven't looked at them, for next year, because so much of it is narrative driven. But yeah, I love that Zach about the Ravens being extra motivated because they were spurned and because they lost to the Bills. So there is legitimate week 1, man. Whew, buddy. Week 1.
So what do you think of that idea that if it's close again, do you feel like voters would all be like, Lamar got a little bit robbed last year. We gave it to, and a lot of guys said it. A lot of guys said that Lamar was better, but they did mental gymnastics to give it to Josh Allen. So is it possible if it's close again, does it help that Lamar got robbed last year?
It's hard to forecast voters in the predictability game after what we watched last year, right? Because the Associated Press had a certain level of let's see. He won the AP. Well, no, help me out here because I'm just in a post-vacation fog.
First team All-Pro.
First team All-Pro.
Quarterback beating Josh Allen.
And second in MVP voting. Yeah. So predictability is a tough game when it comes to these voters, especially when you got guys like, I mean, you heard it there. Like Rick Bucher, I don't think he's a voter, but
Mina is.
Mina definitely is. Orlovsky
he voted for Lamar.
Yeah. But that was like the epitome of essentially, talking voter fatigue right there. But going back to that graphic for a second, did you want to get something in on that first?
What with the real? No, I was just gonna say, shoot, I just lost my thought. Oh, I'll just say this because it is a narrative award. I think the person that would probably have the best narrative if they make the playoffs is Joe Burrow. I think the voters would be salivating to give it to Joe Burrow if they make the playoffs. I just don't think that they can when they don't make it. And I think that's going to be an uphill battle for Lamar. That he will be punished for having consistent success. And so somebody that's like the new shiny, toy would win it.
Mars Madness kind of thinking what I was thinking. So it's comeback player award now for MVP.
Yeah.
In a sense, that's sort of that's sort of what's being suggested here. Now, outside the players that are the parameters here have been the players on the screen that we've based this speak graphic off of. If you were to ask me overall, is there anybody that's surpassing in terms of likelihood to win MVP that's not on this graphic? I might add Jaden Daniels into that conversation. The Washington Commanders got a lot better on paper because it's the paper champion time of year, right? It's on paper. But Washington got a lot better. They are spending on protecting him. They are spending on playmakers in Deebo Samuel. They got better defensively. Their coaching framework didn't change whatsoever. And they were way ahead of schedule in year one. And they played the Ravens pretty tough in that early season game at home. Ravens ended up winning by a touchdown, but Jaden looked like he belonged. And so if I were to add a player in here that could compete with, if we're saying that for me on this graphic, it would be Lamar 1, Burrow 2, even though I appreciate the narrative that you were forecasting for next year in terms of why voters might be salivating. Likelihood just in terms of what they've put on tape in recent seasons, I'd go Lamar 1, Burrow 2, Mahomes 3, just for this graphic. And then I might slip Jaden Daniels in between Lamar and Burrow and make him 2, Burrow 3, and Mahomes 4.
Yeah, if we're talking narrative, just purely narrative, and we don't know what these guys are going to do, but I definitely think I might even put Jaden number 1, just because, again, it's this idea of like the new shiny toy. And like last year, it was so easy to give him the rookie offensive player of the year. And so he's heading into what Lamar Jackson's 2019 year was. So he could hurt himself with a sophomore slump. People say, now we know him. Now we're looking out for him. And defenses will be game planned better for him. But if he continues the current trajectory he's on, then yeah, I could see them really wanting to give it to him. For sure.
Can't argue with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
So there you go. The real quarterbacks of the Real Housewives, the real quarterbacks
of the NFL.
If that's not early July, mid-July, I don't know what is. To Super Chats we go?
Yes, sir.
All right. We appreciate you guys for being with us today on this Thursday. Over 1,800 concurrents and counting at the moment, Tila. So thank you. Like the video on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content, and consider becoming a channel member, a Patreon member, or joining the Discord group so you can have access to our soft launch. The Vault merch line is dropping very soon. DreDog679 got us started earlier on in the show and said the higher-ups in coaching has limited Lamar. Biggie 3 with a super chat.
When is segment? My email, huh? # Ben Cleveland.
He may have emailed us about something. I don't know. Maybe speak in English, Rave, and we'll be able to figure that out. Park Heights Prophet writes, new day, same 20. Here's the 20 spot from PHP. Lamar's the best QB in the NFL. Patrick has the career for sure, but the best player in the league right now resides in B-More. That is without a doubt. 8 is raising that Lombardi, and it will feed families. # 20-0. He continues to drop in the $20 symbolic super chats. We appreciate you, PHP. And another one, Sarah, from him. This time it's yellow and a $10 super chat.
I don't even see a recent email. I don't even know where it would be coming from because he changes his name so often. But
English,
I'm not seeing it, Rave. Is he just wanting us to talk about the left guard battle? I don't know. PHP, I wish I could call in and let loose on the love for Joe Burrow. He gets credit for a Super Bowl run that was mostly his defense and panicked and threw it away to lose the game. Fear not the paper tiger.
This is hysterical. And as much as I love PHP, I feel like I have to just chime in here a little bit, just ever so slightly.
You go for
because
it.
Had his defense, Sarah, and just in the name of objectivity, had his defense not been bottom barrel last year, which was the main reason as to why they didn't make the postseason. Can we all agree on that? Joe was deserving, I think, of being a top 5 MVP candidate based on his numbers last year. And I have to go back and look where he finished in terms of MVP voting. But I'm pretty sure he got some votes. And that's hard to believe given
he did.
Ultimately he wasn't able to overcome what Lamar has proven that he can do right year in and year out, and proved last year that he was able to overcome the last ranked bottom barrel pass defense for the first 10 plus weeks of the season. He overcame that, and it should have led to an MB3. But in the name of objectivity, Joe Burrow had a heck of a season last year statistically. He just wasn't special enough to overcome a brutal defensive effort. that fair?
Yeah, it's fair, but I think I think what people get irked about, and you probably will agree with this, is that for Joe Burrow, it's an excuse. For Lamar Jackson, it's like you have to overcome it.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's completely like, where is that manufactured? Like, where does this come from? Why is that the case? Why in the national manufacturing industry, where does this come from? You're right.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's the MVPs. It's definitely thrown in his face.
These guys thinking I'm all screwed up because of my Asia trip. You people are hilarious. You know that? Big E3 chimes in with a follow-up.
You're a little under the weather.
Oh, I'm sick as a dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Big E3 writes, you asked me to email my story and name changes. Thank you for that. You're right.
Wait,
we did.
But is it coming from Rave Kingdom? Is it Big E3? Like what should the name? We get so many emails.
Yeah, he's right.
Okay.
I stand corrected on that. I had to drag him a little bit because of the lack of English in the previous one, but we did receive an email, but you got to let us know how far back we're going, Rave, because
yeah, when did you send it, Rave? You don't need to do another super chat. I'll watch the chat.
I feel like it was pre-vacation. If that's the case, just let us know the date on that so we can look it up. We will read it aloud if you'd like. He says, I sent an email before your vacation and you didn't have time to read it. It's Rave Kingdom on your email. So why don't I just
here it is.
Read aloud?
Oh, it's long.
Oh wow. Is it ever?
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we keep this under wraps just because we haven't had a chance to even look through this.
Here, I'll star it for us. We just made it important.
Yeah, that's cool. But wow, he gets into the nitty-gritty details here. Was born in Oakland, then moved to Georgia, played sports, made people laugh, good energy. I don't know where this is going, but we're going to take a close look for sure. Appreciate you, Rave.
Oh, no, because now I remember. Rave, I think, tagged me. He's been on this like journey of losing a ton of weight, and he's put it on YouTube, his workouts. It's kind of inspiring, to be honest.
Should we read this?
Here, basically what I'm getting is that, okay, so he grew up in California, moved to Georgia. He went through a time where he got depressed, and he says he gained 600 pounds.
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He said, well, during this time I got depressed and gained 600 pounds, meaning I think he got up to 600. Wasn't confident in myself, so I just never put myself on YouTube, just random videos. Well, here comes the good part. I saw Coach Evans on YouTube, aka Sip to Tally, and started doing these raging rants on call shows about the Ravens. Your followers know about my raging funny calls. Ask Tila, Chris M. Anyway, you got to catch a call in show. You would laugh hard. So my raging turn. So anyway, I mean, it just goes on for a while. I wanted to play born. He ate 10,000 calories. But the next day I only ate 1,000 and that's it. I decided not to eat any more carbs for months. I haven't been to McDonald's in 5 months. I lost 65 pounds in 1 month. That's because I surprised my body. But after that month, I'll average 25 to 30 a month because the body now knows what I'm doing. I used to be 600, but now I'm 399 in 5 months. I used to think to lose weight was to go hard, but really it's about what you eat. It's so true. It's about what you eat. It's so true. I mean, exercise feels good and you can like fine tune your body, but when it comes to weight, it's all about what you eat. So now my confidence is up. I made a TikTok recently and I created better videos. Yeah, I feel like I must have, did I not bookmark it? We got to play one of his workout videos one day. That is inspiring.
Great. Yeah, I was unaware of this, and obviously it just got caught in the pre-vacation shuffle. So
yeah,
needless to say, congratulations. That is insane. The come down off of 600. It must feel incredible. It also must be excruciatingly challenging to stay in that fight. So you're looking pretty good in that profile photo, by the way, on the left-hand side of the screen. If that's you, Biggie 3, aka Rave, aka Ben Cleveland Lover, aka our guy. So congrats. We're rooting for you. And thanks for reminding us too. Park Heights Prophet says, Joe had numbers because his defense stinks. You referenced this. He put up big numbers. Don't sneeze. He put up big numbers throwing the ball, and they don't run the ball. The numbers are inflated. Plus, he cannot beat Lamar, so he should always be behind Lamar. He's struggled in the head-to-head for sure. Only has 1 or 2 wins, if memory serves. Against
Lamar's lost once against the Bengals, whether Burrow's there or not. Yeah,
okay. Just once. Then it's like 7. Isn't it like 7-1 or 8? 7-2 or?
No, it's like 10-1.
Is that what it's skyrocketed? No, sorry. In the head-to-head with Burrow, though, we did this.
With week. Burrow, yeah, specifically, I don't remember.
It's like 1 or 2 losses.
No, but Lamar can't have 2 losses if he's 10-1 against the Bengals overall. He has 1 loss.
Okay, yeah, that's math.
And just because you asked if your comment was fair about saying that the defense holds them back, and I said yes, but it's how they're treated in the media. Do you think it's fair to say that his numbers are also inflated because of the defense?
Oh, it's a part of it.
I mean,
it's certainly a part of it.
It's not everything, but I think it's true that it's probably a bit inflated.
It's a part of the story. If you go look at the numbers, I mean they're astronomical regardless. But yeah, it certainly helps when you're playing from behind in your defense. But also at the same time, should Joe be punished for his defense?
Not punished, but put into the context.
Sure, under the context microscope, and that's what PHP, I guess, is trying.
Lamar is 5-1 against Joe Burrow.
Thank you. 5-1, and you're saying 10-1 overall against Cincy
as a starter.
Pre-Burrow, mid-Burrow, his injuries, of course. Thank you. MMMCB 1986 super chat for you.
What if Oweh has 17 sacks? Do we give him $35 million per year? I don't think we can stretch it. I honestly think it depends more on what Mike Green is going to be. If they feel like Mike Green is like their next star, they're not going to pay Oweh.
Or could Tavius Robinson have a Nnamdi Madubuike kind of breakout season as he did a couple years ago?
Well, but speaking of him, honestly, if Tavius steps up and you feel like Mike Green is that guy, then you I don't know how far Tavius is from the end of his rookie deal.
You got another year out of him.
Oh, you get another year of him, and then you give him a modest deal that you wouldn't have to pay to somebody like Oweh if he had 17 sacks. And then you have him and Mike Green kind of coming up.
You could give him like a Brodie Washington from a couple years ago that came out of nowhere, right? Broderick Washington. They extended.
Yeah.
Hasn't necessarily lived up to that hype. You could do that, and then to your point, you feel confident after what you've seen from a rookie sample size in Mike, and you're looking at what the market's dictating for Oweh at the pass rusher position, and you're like, yeah, this doesn't make any monetary sense.
Right.
So let's continue, and then let's go back to the well too, and let's go grab another pass rusher in the in the draft, and let's see where KVN's at this point in his career. This might be it for him.
Probably, but you'd go get another vet to complement Tavius and
We've
Mike
seen
Green.
that over the years. You've always had one of those, right? Since Sizzle left, it was like, it's been Justin Houston, it's been Jadeveon Clowney, it's been Kyle Van Noy, it's been Jason Pierre-Paul, it's been I'm just rattling off names.
Yeah, that was actually pretty impressive.
Fit that,
I thought you were reading those.
So some have been more productive than others. Jadeveon and KVN in 23 what a tandem they were in 2023. And then Kyle follows it up with he one-ups himself last year from the year prior. Anyway, you and I had a pre-show call about various things, and the fact that let's face it, when you go off the grid for 10 days, all of a sudden the week prior, which is of course the week prior to training camp, rookies report on the 15th, all veterans and everybody else the 22nd. It is a lot of playing catch up. There's not a lot of new news, if you will, not a lot of signings, not a lot of news nuggets that are deserving of our attention. And so with me being under the weather and you being in the mode of summer with your kids and everything.
And tomorrow's Aiden's birthday.
Aiden, your third child.
Second.
Sorry, London. Sorry. Yeah, it goes Gardy, Aiden, London, Ella.
Boom. Nailed it.
Okay. Thank you. Got the names down. Haven't got the ages down yet. But terrible uncle.
Well, apparently he was downgraded to your cousin yesterday.
My cousin?
I was reading the chat afterwards because I showed Aiden the segment where I showed the forehead picture.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, in the chat, because you were like, Aiden, I thought you were my nephew. Somebody in the chat said, oh, he was downgraded to cousin.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't see that. Oh, so anyway, we're having this, this conversation, and we just wanted to, it's a long way of saying we're going to take a 3-day weekend. I got to get myself right. You got to celebrate accordingly with Aiden, who's turning
14
tomorrow.
14, and then Gardner turns in 8 days, 16.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Me and your boys, the July babies, man.
Great.
It's a great month for sure.
Right.
Anyway, we're taking a 3-day weekend. No show tomorrow at noon. We have more content to come over the next probably 30 minutes or so, but we're going to take a 3-day weekend and get ourselves ready for training camp, and obviously the 6+ month grind that awaits us. So we appreciate your patience and understanding over the last couple of weeks. We are looking just way out and ahead in July of 2026 of getting to a point where, just for R&R purposes and making sure that, we're rejuvenated and ready to give you, daily year-round content. We're considering taking off. I got to sneeze. Let them know.
Tila is not happy. Okay. Tila is not happy. In all caps, she says, what? Y'all just got back. It's so true though. Yeah. And Sebastian's taking credit. I guess Sebastian is the one who said that Aiden was demoted. So that was a funny comment. Well done. But guys, let's be real. Bobby's sick. I got my son's birthday tomorrow. It's July content. And Bobby, you were just saying why you were saying it's slow these days. That's because coaches, players, agents, reporters are all on vacation right now. All of them. There's no news. So other than Kurt, like most of our content since we've been back is just catching up on what we missed while we were out. So I feel good about our decision. And Tila, I appreciate that you're going to miss us, but I also feel like you're the supportive type. And I feel like you could get behind us on this. You want Bobby to feel better. You want me to spend my birthday with my son, right? I think you can get behind it.
Looks like Troy's going to be bummed because he can't spend his 38th birthday with us in live formatting tomorrow. But happy early 38th to Troy. And just speaking for an extra second here on the sort of the vision and the business side of what we do and the time off and whatnot. I mean, at the end of the day, you and I, as we've mentioned so many times before, are each other's bosses. And so we make the calls, we make decisions, and on a year-by-year basis, which we will be celebrating, by the way, 3 years in existence in terms of the audio-only show. I think September or early October will mark 3 years in the YouTube space, which is pretty wild to think. But each year we sort of make refinement adjustments. We make different decisions on vacation, different decisions on how we're going to bring on people. We obviously brought on our first employee. Brennan is our editor since March. It's been a great new addition for us. And so I just think we had a great long form, big picture conversation yesterday about July of 2026, for example, and the importance of getting away a little bit for the quality and the consistency and, between the ears. So we're potentially doing a 2-week hiatus in July of 2026. The nice part is you guys don't have to worry about that until then. And we're going to be full throttle until then. And we hope to be full throttle next week, which is part of the reason why we want to take it.
I feel relieved. Tila said, okay, I'll allow it along with some others.
And Eileen just making it, this is a good segue, and then we'll move on to the other content here. Eileen's like, what's the deal? You're dropping merch tomorrow and won't even be on. I think we're going to shift that to Monday.
We're
going to shift
I
that
like how Eileen's into the details, though.
Yeah, I do
like
too.
That.
And I'm glad she's bringing this up because it gives folks more time to become eligible for the soft launch. So just to reiterate, if you want to be eligible for our soft launch for the Vaults merch line that's dropping soon, you can either become a channel member, you can become a Patreon member, or join the Discord group, or all three, really, or 2 of the 3. And if you do, you'll have access. And so that's coming up on Monday. And then after that, we'll have at the start of actual training camp, when everybody is there full throttle, we'll let you know when the site is fully available to everybody. So, and before I forget, Sarah, yesterday we were so busy on the way out of our show that we forgot to display some super chats towards the end. So Dreams yesterday said, are we getting hoodies? I wear them more Then T-shirts, the answer is yes.
Lots of hoodies.
Biggie 3 was like, what I miss. And Sod Blitz 34 was like, you should stick with the purple ticker and names with a heart.
I did like
And
the
Dre
purple,
Dog.
I'll be honest.
I'm sorry?
I like the purple ticker too.
All right. Let's do it then.
All right.
That's funny because initially when I showed you it, you're like, eh.
Oh, well, I changed my opinion.
Sod Blitz 34 likes it, so we'll stick with it. And Dre Dog 679 is so true here. My God, what the heck did I start, Bobby? Yeah, you started a lot. All right. For those who don't know, it was Dre that got the whole Vegeta conversation started.
Now it's Vegeta.
Oh, Vegeta.
Now it's Vegeta.
Playing off my first name. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Speaking of starting stuff, what's up, Sherry?
Okay.
Sherry out here gifting 20 memberships out of nowhere on this Thursday, July 10th. Thank you, Sherry.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Sherry. That brings us to, we began at, I want to say somewhere in the mid 600s. I think it was 648. So that brings us to 668. Thank you, Sherry. And the beauty of that is not only is Sherry, because she's already a channel member, going to be eligible for our soft launch, but now 20 others will have access to the Vault's merch line coming up on Monday. So thanks, Sherry. Park Heights Prophet.
Yeah, go ahead.
Says, let me get the logins and I will run a quick show tomorrow. Give a few rants about he wants to take over the show now. He says, let me get the logins and I'll run a quick show tomorrow. Give a few rants about the Bills and Bengals and a breakdown of why we will go 20-0. Quick and easy stuff. Just need a producer.
The producer stuff is real, though.
For sure.
When you're out of town, that's definitely, just because I don't have practice with it, it's like, oh.
A lot goes into it, for sure.
Yeah.
And
what's funny, PHP, here's my question for you, sir. Sometimes people are great writers, but aren't necessarily as animated in their speaking kind of delivery. My question is, does your speaking delivery match your writing delivery? You guys will know that you guys can see the difference. Like when we have on our guests going into, like when we're trying to get to know our opponents and we bring in guests, there is a stark difference when we have a print journalist versus a radio or TV journalist coming on. I mean, it just is, it's night and day. It's night and day.
To the point where you and I will have conversations about quality prior and ask ourselves, like, are we doing everyone a disservice?
Yeah.
You know,
because the print guys are like, and girls are like encyclopedias. They got great information, but it just is like sometimes falling asleep a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So let us know, PHP. You got to look yourself in the mirror, as we know you will. What is this?
I don't know, but we just started going back to Super Chat, so I just want to make sure we didn't miss it. Douglas H. Brown Sr. says, DHBSR in the house. Sorry. We have a great team with PHP at the helm. Tila and Chris M on the wings. Oh, I like where this is headed. Dre Dog and Osmonius Rhying the Rock. Am I saying that right?
Carrying the rock.
Oh, carrying the rock. Okay. Dreams in the slot. Romy Raven bringing Rush. You, Sarah, and Bobby. Wait, what are we?
My favorite about all of this.
You didn't finish what we are.
My favorite about all of this is that Romy Raven is bringing the pressure, because I think what Douglas is suggesting is that she's got some moxie to her, because remember when I pulled up the Discord screen share yesterday, she was the one that concocted, courtesy of ChatGPT, me and Vegeta, the Vegeta, like she inspired that. Remember the graphic that I shared?
Yes,
that was her.
Yes.
So I think that's exactly what, if I'm putting two and two together, that's what Douglas is going for here.
Okay, but I need Douglas to finish off, like, what positions are we? And when you say PHP's at the helm, does that mean he's the coach or is he the quarterback? Like, I need more information on this team.
So my immediate thoughts is that PHP is the point.
So we're going basketball. This is basketball.
Well, what's funny, he's going back and forth.
So he's got the slot.
We're playing ball and football. is my interpretation.
Okay, we're playing hoops and football. Okay.
So you got two different fields going on here. You got an indoor court and you've got the gridiron. And so PHP, in my estimation, is the point guard. Teal and Chris are shooting guards. Dre and Asmodeus just carry that damn thing in carry the rock, the King Henry style. Dreams is your slot receiver. Romy is bringing the pressure on the edge, and you and I are waiting for our roles to be assigned.
Yes.
You and I are apparently bubble players right now, which is very disrespectful.
Oh, he's followed up. He said, we're the coaches and PHP is the QB.
Okay. All right. So looks like there's no basketball references here. Gotcha.
Well, hold on. I'll come in a second. Sorry, I'm taking control of these. Suddenly I want the producer role. So what about that? Big E says, sent to your Twitter, Sarah and Bobby Discord. Yeah, he's talking about the videos. I definitely remember watching it. We got to bring it in. That was before my thing. But after Sherry gifted 20, Chuck Lund comes in with 1. Mike M comes in with 1. And you know PHP, he's always get a match. He can't be beat. So he gifted 20 also.
That's awesome.
Woo.
This is like even better than usual because now all these new channel members get immediate access to the Vault merch line. And as I said yesterday, Sarah, I can't stop envisioning, week 1 in Buffalo. I know Park Heights Prophet will be present, walking into Orchard Park, Highmark Stadium with the Vault gear, like whether it be a snapback, whether it be a t-shirt, who knows, maybe it'll be warm that night on Sunday Night Football. Maybe you're rocking a cut sleeve in there.
In Buffalo, warm?
Well, I know, but in September, maybe a fighting chance.
I don't know. You're a New York guy, not me.
There's like 1 or 2 home games per year where if you're a Bills fan, you're excited to wear shorts and a t-shirt. That's about it. So, yeah. Park Heights Prophet says, "Oh, Bobby and Sarah, you have no idea. I have done radio and voiceover work and literally get paid to talk.
Oh.
When the time is right, the PHP will show you what I could do. I might even talk better than I write." Have we just gotten a little bit more?
You know what? Because it's July, Bobby. What about this? At some point next week, before people report to camp, we could do something where PHP comes in and maybe even Rave Kingdom, given his story.
How about we just open up that thing to everybody?
Well, then it could get a little crazy, Bob.
Well, but then you and I have to vet, though, as the calls come in.
Yeah.
Could be fun. But by the way,
but I would want like here's my requirement though. They got to have a topic and something on their mind already.
That's fine.
I just don't want it. You know what I mean?
That's
fine.
To
be quality.
That's fine.
All right.
That's kind of what I mean. Like when they come on the show, we'll have to vet them and be like, this is either trash or.
But PHP may not be ready to reveal himself yet.
That's true. But what I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, is this more intel than we've ever gotten before on him?
Yeah, I know when he wrote that, I do actually remember him saying he had been in radio or something. I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, regardless.
Now the gifts are flying.
Yeah.
Douglas just gifted 5.
The run is on.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Davon, right?
You know it.
Barnes wants to know if he can play safety. You got to ask Douglas about that. Douglas, I guess we're the coaches, but it feels like Douglas is the GM.
I could see Davon being a total ball hawk, total lockdown, just a certain level of tenacity to him.
Nothing's getting over his head in the back end.
Nothing. This is hysterical.
Chef Trez, what does he got to say? Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, it doesn't even matter. Go look at his profile.
Yes, Chef.
You are funny, man. That is. Now, hold on here. What we're going to do is, because this guy, he just can't help himself, you know that. And I'm deserving of this because I have dragged him often throughout the offseason for coming and going. But this is hysterical. He's also really busy in school, by the way. But this, just in case you're short-sighted, let's bring this sucker up on the screen. Take a look at his profile photo. Romy, this is your problem, Romy.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to make that emoji. There was something wrong with the emoji generator yesterday. I could have had it done, but something's wrong. Anyway, we got to get this in there.
This is hysterical.
This
And
makes me
just in
so
case
happy.
you missed yesterday's show, Romy Raven, as I popped over to my Discord group, our Discord group,
Zoom
what
in
does
on
she
that
have
picture.
here?
Zoom in on. There you go.
Chat GPT, Romy Raven decided to go take Bobby Trossett and Vegeta, the anime character, and mesh it all together. And that is now the profile photo of one Chef Tress. You guys, there's never a dull
Vegeta.
moment. Never a dull moment. inside.
Vegeta in all his glory. Now listen, when you continue to bring the hair forward, they're gonna have to do you right and give you a new character.
Correct. As it continues, as the hairline continues to take shape, they're gonna have to be ready. Because we're coming for their heads. All right, Bosley and I have plans. My hair follicles in the back of my head have plans. They're going to be coming to the front of my head, and everybody's going to have to watch their head. All right? Remember, mid-hair transplant,
Up the rails again.
they buzz your hair down in the back, okay? And they extract follicles from the back of your head and place them where you're balding. For me, prior to the hair transplant, all of this, which is thinning, I get it. All of this right here was gone. It was literally what you're seeing right. Oops.
We can see it. You're good.
Here was all the hair that I had. Okay. So anybody who wants to deny the growth is denying fact. It's denying reality.
That's right.
And what we're going to do is populate this area more and maybe, just maybe, kind of go this way with the overall hairline and then maybe add in a little bit of sideburns as well while we're at it.
Bobby,
and I'm going to be laughing all the way to the bank.
See, I feel like
we're talking
about. I was about to say it should be M&T Bank though. You should be laughing at M&T because then everybody can see you.
I'll laugh to M&T and I'll laugh to any bank that I'd like to go to the bank.
Update in the Ellison household. A group of neighborhood girls are all in my house now. So yeah. So we'll see how that turns out.
Such is summer life over there. You guys have a revolving door, as I learned.
Oh yeah, we like everybody to feel like they can be here. Okay, let's keep moving here. All right, we're on a run here. LJ Green gifted a membership. Heather McCubbin is celebrating 3 months of membership. I love my Voltron family. Heather McCubbins also gifts a membership, and then another one, and then another one. See, she couldn't put it all in one. Okay, she needed the love that we just keep flashing her up there. Chuck Lund celebrating 1 month. Douglas says Davon is definitely the safety. And Bobby, Sherry Millen, what you got?
She's got a $2 super chat for us, and she is telling Tyler Loop that he's on notice officially because she says, I'll be the kicker. And she's a former soccer player here. I love it. Look out, Tyler. Look out, John Hoyland. Chuck Lund is also throwing in another channel membership. Appreciate you, Chuck. Thanks for being here. Draydog679 says, can we please get a t-shirt with this picture on it?
Oh, Bobby, we got to talk to our merch people. Here's the thing. Romy, can you get us? Oh my gosh. Yes. You know what? Draydog is just full of great ideas. Romy, we need that image as a vector image. Can you make that happen? Because that's the only way they'll get it on a t-shirt.
Somewhere Carly's watching and she
would make my life, I'm pretty sure.
Carly's laughing all the way to the bank right now.
Now you would be laughing all the way to the bank, Bobby, because you'd be getting cashing those checks from the merch.
If that's what people,
the Vegeta merch checks are going to be coming in.
That's what people want. Draydog, let us know. You and Romy Raven can talk in the Discord group and maybe get that conversation.
Somebody's got to make it a vector image for us.
Yes, that's the key.
That's the key.
Sherry writes, please put that on a shirt, echoing what we're talking about. Vegeta Bobby, they want the shirt. They want it now. Yvette Big, Sarah, she's a channel member.
Okay, here we go. My hair is already short. Vegeta, you got none of mine. LOL.
Hold on here. Vegeta.
You get none of mine. Oh, she's not giving you any hair.
Correct. But what's the SP?
Spelling. She didn't know if Vegeta was spelled correctly.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Yvette, it's all coming from the back of my head. I'm chilling. We're good. There's no shortage. There's no shortage. We're good.
But wait, here's my question. If say like Yvette or say like me, okay? If I gave you my hair follicles, you would have my hair, right?
I would think so.
Like it wouldn't match.
I would think so.
Okay.
And that's why, look, if we're really getting down to the nitty gritty here, the transplant's been phenomenal overall, right? It's been an amazing experience. It's obviously worked, even though folks want to say the opposite just because. But when you take the hair that's in the back of your head and place it in the front, it is ever so slightly different. It looks the same, but it grows ever so slightly different. That's just kind of how it is.
I get that.
Yeah. Laura Dillander celebrating 4 months of channel membership. And she says, can't wait to see what merch you have for us and the beginning of seeing our team each week now. Love you guys. We love you, Laura, and we can't wait to show you what we have coming up. Big E3, Sarah, he's had an active live stream, and he's got another super chat for us.
He says, Chris, tell Bobby and Sarah my calls get serious. Sarah asked Coach Evans info about my calls but if you need me to behave, I will.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, be passionate, but behave.
Oh, man. Are we fully caught up yet? We're not. Dre Dog says, Bobby getting a hair BBL. Love you, bro. What's a BBL? Do I even want to know? Let's see. Is it Big Black something? Oh, my. AI overview says Brazilian butt lift. Is that what it is?
Dre Dog, is that what you meant?
Oh, man.
Oh, because it's a hair version of that?
Yeah. That's what he was going for. You guys are incredible, man.
Oh, my gosh. These guys, I love it when these guys make me laugh. I come out of here feeling good when you guys make me laugh like this. My goodness. And he is confirming he did mean Brazilian butt lift.
One of the ultimate pivots is about to happen right now as we get back to football.
I don't even want to see those emojis. Okay. I don't need to
This
see
feels
that.
so wrong that we're gonna shift to our content right now, right?
Holy cow, we still have so much to get through, Bobby. Let's move.
Amazing. All right, let's do this. Let's get these in real quick and say hello and thank you to BG Method and Chris Gagnon. So thank you both for believing in what we're building. This is your monthly shout out because of the support that you guys give us through Patreon. And because of this, you'll have access to our early launch. The Vault's merch line early access is coming up on Monday. So thank you both. We appreciate you. You guys can visit patreon.com/RavensVault podcast if you're interested in learning more about what we have there and what we have coming up next week. Partner, back to football content. Lead us in the right direction, please.
Oh, I will lead us. Okay. So we were just talking about, would Lamar Jackson have a Super Bowl win with Andy Reid? Perhaps. However, we can never quite know because according to Odafe Oweh, the issues aren't really coaching. The issues really aren't roster. It's none of that. Odafe on SiriusXM, and this is while we were out once again, so if you're wondering why we're covering it now, is because we couldn't while we were out. The show was on a hiatus. But he said the quiet part out loud that I think we all know in our heart of hearts of what's going on there. What's going on in the playoffs?
Everybody wants to see this team hoist the Lombardi Trophy. What do you think it's going to take to get there? It's not necessarily a mental hump, not a physical hump. Is there something that you guys focus on to kind of quiet the outside noise? What is it like in that building knowing what the expectation is?
Yeah, I mean, you said it's not a mental. To be honest, I really do think it's a mental thing with us because honestly, our roster has been, superb these past 3 years. To be honest, we've had great rosters. Regular seasons, we've been dominant. We hit the playoffs, and we kind of lose that edge, and for whatever reason. But to be honest, what we have to do is just take care of the football and cause turnovers. Our last game, we lost turnover by like 3-0. That's something that's big, and if we can just continue to be the type of defense that we are in a regular season and realize that, we are enough, each individual player that we have is enough, and if we just play to our capabilities, do your 111th, we're going to win. So I feel like it really is a mental battle, so I feel like we do that and we win. We're hoisting the Lombardi.
You always get better when you add good football players. Jair Alexander's out of Green Bay, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if you learned it through social media or one of your teammates texted you. What was your reaction?
Hey, more sacks. More sacks. That's really all I said. I said, yes, sir. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
But if you're saying more sacks, then these are coverage sacks. You got to, dole something out and make sure they're happy back there, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a mutual relationship. So you guys do your job for us. And then when it comes down, when you need us, we'll beat our man before those, under 3 seconds, and we'll all be happy, If they get interceptions, we get sacks. We're the best defense. That's all that matters.
Okay, so he definitely spoke the truth on the turnovers. We've talked about it. And I like that he's calling his own defense out. Yeah, we got to get turnovers. They can't give up turnovers for sure. But I found it interesting when the host said, okay, we know it's not mental. It's not necessarily physical because they've been healthy other than Zay in that playoff game. So he's like, what is it? And Odafe's like, no. You said it wasn't mental. I think it is mental. He says, for whatever reason, we lose that edge. We lose that edge. I mean, he's right. Right, Bobby?
He's correct. And this is the second example. Really, this is more in depth, Sarah, than what he was willing to do in a press conference setting earlier on in the offseason, where Odafe shared very similar sentiments. He went deeper here and certainly did not have anything close to that whole losing edge nugget that you just referenced from the press conference. But obviously, when you get in a more informal setting, like a radio interview versus a podium setting, you're probably going to be a little bit more at length with your answers. And that's exactly what he gave you here to Sirius XM. But this marks the second time in really a month or so that key players on the defensive side of the ball have looked themselves in the mirror and been extremely transparent and pointed in terms of where their shortcomings have been their Achilles heel. I find it refreshing. Now, will it be even more refreshing if they can go right their wrongs when it matters the most in January? Of course. Right now, it's just lip service. But at least they're not hiding from it. They're not shying away from the elephant in the room. And that has been the inability to create turnovers. That statistic that you shared yesterday was absurd.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive turnovers throughout the Lamar era is single digits in the postseason.
3, I think.
3 to 42. The previous 7, is that what it was?
Yes, I'm looking it up now, but memory serves, it was 42 during 7 years before Lamar came, and then during the 7 years with Lamar, it was 3.
That is...
Here it is, 2018 to 14. Excuse me, 2008 to 2014 was 42 playoff turnovers. In 2018 through 2024, there were 3.
I got news for you. If you're looking for the ultimate indictment into why this team throughout the Lamar era has come up short time and time again in January, as much as early on in this current phase of the Lamar era was about Lamar and his shortcomings in the postseason.
We have never witnessed in the Lamar Jackson era the Ravens just getting outplayed, where they put on their best. Like, how many times have we seen, and here's like the hope that the Ravens have, though. When you watch Josh Allen and the Bills, it's like, man, they put it all out on the line. and the Chiefs just beat them. The Chiefs just played better. They had one more possession. They had one more of this. But, Josh Allen plays well, or, their whole team plays basically to their normal standard. And so you have to look at the Bills and you're like, man, is there any more juice to squeeze out of this fruit? Right? Is there any more there? And so in some ways, it's like you might have less hope in Buffalo, because it's like, man, we're playing our best and we're still losing. We have not seen in the Lamar Jackson era the Ravens play their best in the playoffs and lose. Like, every loss is, who is this team? I don't even recognize this team from the previous 17 games during the regular season. And Bobby, this is very interesting. Yes, there was "we lose our edge" quote, and then there was the quote about, yes, it's mental. But then he said, we just have to believe that we are enough. Bobby, this is something that I usually have to say to my kids as they're coming of age, right? Like they're going from kids into teenagers. And then in middle school and high school, they're like discovering themselves, and like you're letting them know, yeah, you're enough. You're great. This and that. This is not what you want grown professionals to be feeling on the football field. We have to believe we are enough. Who's the leader out there you would never have heard? And I understand this is Hall of Fame level. And I understand that this is like probably one of the best leaders in the history of the NFL. But could you imagine Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs saying to themselves, we just have to believe we're enough? Like, the fact that he even had to say that, I feel like, is so telling. Like, get out there and ball. Like, why is that even in the back of your head? My thought was that the reason why it's mental is because maybe it stems back from 2019 and just being shocked. And so then every year I was assuming that it was just like, they're pressing too much. They're pressing too much. Can't make a mistake. Can't make a mistake. Can't make a mistake. Oops, I made a mistake. Rather than just playing ball free, right? But like, to have to tell yourself that we are enough, then it's like, we have more work to do than I even thought.
As much as you appreciate how introspective those words are, it does sort of take you down that path of like, well, wait a second now. Why all of a sudden are you guys quivering when it comes to January football? You guys just ran the table the previous 18 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's, as much as you can appreciate the transparency, the other side of the coin is pretty ugly. And Odafe is kind of exposing, in a sense, what's led to these shortcomings. And so to finish that thought from a minute ago, if you're looking for the ultimate indictment outside of Lamar's shortcomings in terms of why they haven't gotten it done in January, which hasn't been of late, right? His shortcomings haven't been the be all end all of late, as we've accounted for several times so far this offseason, which speaks to the trajectory, the upward trajectory of his postseason and his performance in January. Then it has to start and end with a defense that has failed him. The defense has failed him in recent seasons. And Marlon's being abundantly clear about that, and Odafe, without saying it, is being abundantly clear with those words.
Yeah. And I do think it is just like kind of, I guess, an experience thing. Like, I can't remember the last time I doubted whether I was enough. Like, when we started this show, never once did I doubt that we were enough. Like, I feel like the last time I've ever doubted that professionally is like, I remember being in college and being like kind of interested in broadcast journalism. And I was like, but nobody wants to hear my opinion. So I went into public relations. Luckily, I veered back to it anyway. But that's like, and maybe that's kind of the ages some of these guys are at. That was like in my 20s for sure. And I just think with experience and with age and with maturity, you just forget those doubts. You just forget them. And so, they've been a young team. I feel like they're a little bit more veteran, with Lamar going into his 8th year and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can put those kind of thoughts out of their mind. And Brett Coleman here, who we featured yesterday, was doing some research. He's a YouTuber, does film study. He tweeted, for the 3rd year in a row, while researching teams for summer previews, for every single niche metric we bring up, I go to the top of the league and see Baltimore far outpacing everyone else in basically everything. He says, I can't believe this Ravens era might result in no hardware. It can't, Bobby. It can't. They have to fix this. They have to get over these mental hurdles because they're too talented and they're too good.
Speaking of hurdles, somebody who is hurdling his way into his 30s is Derrick Henry, who's back, of course, in Baltimore for a second season, and he's got that nice and flush bank account right now after being paid handsomely in the form of an extension that keeps him in Baltimore for the next several years. But Rich Eisen had a conversation on his show recently in terms of, hey, if Derrick Henry stopped playing today, is he a Hall of Famer? And you grabbed a clip from this.
Yeah, and I actually didn't grab the clip of them talking about this specific question because all three of him and his two panelists agreed that if he retired today, he'd make it in the Hall of Fame. They said maybe not first ballot, you know. They all think he's eventually going to be first ballot because he's got a lot of years left. And so that wasn't as much of a fun conversation. I think we can all agree he's Hall of Fame bound. But then Rich brought up another topic that I found intriguing. And his panelists didn't like that he went there, but it has to do with one Emmitt Smith.
Great, but that's not really our argument.
I'm saying to you all of this.
Yeah, but
that if he continues on and plays as long as, let's say, Frank Gore did, he keeps his body healthy. He keeps on chugging like he keeps on over year after year after year where we think he ain't it anymore. I don't know if Emmett's going to have to start looking in his rearview mirror.
Well, I don't want to go there.
I just did.
Well, I mean, you're really jumping the gun, but
this segment is all about jumping the gun.
No,
is
I understand.
Not?
He would have to have Saquon Barkley's career to this point. He'd have to have that career starting now to get close to Emmitt.
He needs less than 7,000 more rushing yards to get Emmitt.
Yeah. Well, Saquon has 7,200 career rushing yards, so he would need Saquon's career to this point.
Right.
From now moving on.
And Saquon had 2,000 of those yards just last year.
Seems unlikely.
1,000 yards a season for the next 7 seasons, and you know this season he's going to have more than 1,000 yards if the guy stays healthy. That's the if. He's set to have the career of careers. He's a Hall of Famer right now.
So here it is, Bobby, up on the screen. As Rich pointed out, he's number 19, but he's close to passing a lot of guys. I remember this. You knew the exact number of yards Derrick Henry ran for last year. I know it was like above 1,900. What was the exact yards?
I can still give it to you.
Yeah.
1,921.
Okay, 1,921. I don't know. So I think it would be safe to say he'll hit 1,500 at least again. So if he hits 1,500, we're talking just under 13,000. That boosts him all the way up to number 10 after the season, if he were to get 1,500. So now we're top 10. Then he'll have at 13,000, he'll have a little over 5,000 to go. Listen, it gets harder and harder the older you get. But to Rich Eisen's point, is it crazy to bring up given how he treats his body? And given how determined he is? So if you've got, after this season, only a little over 5,000 to go, I don't know. Does he have 5 more seasons in him after that?
Well,
kind of putting this on the fly
Baltimore.
Yeah.
If he stays in Baltimore and Lamar is still in Baltimore, which the expectation is that he will be.
Right.
And Derrick continues to show very little signs of slowing down, he'll have a shot. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
As much as Brockman was like kind of down Rich's throat there in terms of
Rich wasn't having that though.
He wasn't.
I wouldn't go there. Well, I just did. Rich says.
You kind of love Rich, like, nah, I'm good. We're going there. This is my show. All right, bro. But
whose name is on this show?
Yeah.
It's not the Chris Brockman show.
Exactly.
You've gotten into it with Chris Brockman, haven't you?
Yeah, like he's taking issue. I think he's an emotional guy, but hey, aren't we all in a sense? But Brockman was like a little bit obnoxious there, but I think his point deserves a little bit of validity. And this is a tall task. Look, I think we can all agree that Derrick's got a pretty darn good chance of entering 2026 as a top 10 all-time rusher.
Right.
Right. And he's going to be leapfrogging a lot of Hall of Famers and a lot of greats over the course of the next season, should he put forth a minimum of 1,500 yards. And if he stays healthy, I think we all agree that that's the expectation for him. After that, it's, man, you're going to be getting into your mid-30s. Will the Ravens continue to allocate money to keep him around? Should he continue to withstand the test of time? Why wouldn't they?
Right.
Barring something unforeseen and a different change in scheme and a change in Lamar's abilities, why wouldn't they want to continue rolling with him? But to think that Derrick's still going to be in Baltimore 5 years from now feels rich.
It's a lot. I don't think he'll be in. I don't know that he needs to stay in Baltimore for it to happen. But let's see. What is he in? He just signed his new deal, which keeps him here through. Let's see here. He signed it. Oh, just a 2-year deal. But he's here through 2027. So that's the next 3 years. I think it would be safe to say he's going to end up in the top 5. Because if he's hitting 13,000 kind of benchmark after this year, then to be in the top 5, he's only got to get 2,000 more, which he can definitely do.
Yeah.
So he'll be a top 5 quarterback. He could pass Barry Sanders. Here's what's also crazy. Emmitt Smith was in a much more, it was a running league back then. It's a passing league now.
Yeah.
So we will see.
But
very interesting from Rich.
It's a great segment. And meanwhile, you think he cares, Derrick himself, about any of this? He's just working. He's got his head down, doing insanely difficult and taxing hill work with weights attached to him. How about the steep grade with which he's running here? I mean, it's just, the guy is doing hurdles. Speaking of hurdles, that's the way we began this topic. Hurdles. He's hurdling on a hill.
That's bananas.
With weights attached to him. So if there's any superhuman that can continue to defy odds, that can continue to withstand the test of time and stiff arm that cliff that every single running back previously in this era seemingly have hit, it's this guy that you're watching right now.
A lot of people will do drills with that elastic band on their back on a straight. You were just talking about doing hurdles uphill. He had, what is that? The bungee rope on his back and on his waist. So he's running up hills and has the bungee on his back. He's so strong and powerful.
He's one of one. He's one of one. So it's a great topic, a great segment, and one that we're going to watch take shape again. And should he flirt with 2,000 yards again this upcoming season, then that conversation maybe starts to kick into high gear.
Quick hits?
Correct. Let's do it. And we'll begin with another unicorn, and that is Kyle Hamilton. Jeremy Fowler, it's that time of year. We'll be covering this next week, I'm sure, when he talks to execs, coaches, and scouts. And in this publication on ESPN.com, he took a look at the top NFL safeties. And Kyle, according to who he spoke to, is the universal number one. And I'll read you what he has here. Hamilton gets the benefit of the doubt despite a production dip. And his highest ranking, by the way, was 1. Lowest ranking was 9. He's 24 years old. And last year's ranking, he was the number 2 overall safety. So he gets the benefit of the doubt despite a production dip. In 2023, he was the only safety with at least 10 tackles for loss and 10 pass deflections. He added 3 sacks and 4 picks, yet finished second behind Antoine Winfield Jr. in the top 10 ranking. This year, he was down significantly in each of those categories, yet received more than 60% of the first place votes. The reason is simple. This is the big takeaway. His value transcends numbers. Quote, all-around best player, size, instincts, production, blitzability, an NFL personnel director told Jeremy. Hamilton's 14.5% ball hawking rate is decent, but unspectacular coming on 76 targets. But he can line up all over the field from free safety to star linebacker. He played 200 snaps in 2024, quote, from the slot as an overhang defender. He's one of 5 players over the past 2 seasons with 15 pass breakups, 5 interceptions, and multiple forced fumbles. Quote, great player, scheme specific, an AFC executive said. Quote, in his role, he's very good. He can't man cover and does not have elite range. That's why teams with quicker receivers can have success against him, end quote. That from Jeremy Fowler, speaking to, of course, anonymously, execs, coaches, and scouts.
Okay. So, yeah, Kyle Hamilton's the man, essentially.
Yeah, has his shortcomings in terms of.
We always known about the speed, though. That was like the knock on him coming out of the draft, and look at him as an all-pro.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the scheme-specific feedback there from one AFC exec is fair. And that's why so many teams passed on him in 2022.
Yeah.
But the Ravens were like, no, we're all good. He's perfect for our scheme. And that's certainly proven to be true.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, I thought this was fun. DraftKings put out the top 10 wide receivers of the 2000s. Sort of have a Raven on here. Steve Smith Sr. makes it at number 9. And they've got Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco at number 7. Chad sees this, quote, retweets it, Bobby, and says, take me off and put Derrick Mason because people must have forgot.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And I got to tell you, Bobby, even with Derrick Mason balling here in Baltimore for years, even us here in Baltimore, we forget about him. I can still remember him and Joe Flacco. They would move the chains at will, even in the playoffs, on third down because it would be an out pass to the sideline that was nearly unstoppable. They knew it was coming. I remember him playing with one arm against Dallas. Of all time, he's number 31 in receiving yards. And he is ahead of Chad. Oh, no. I was looking at Calvin Johnson. I don't know where Chad Johnson is on this list. But Bobby, I know this was before your time, before you started covering the Ravens. When I tell you he was a baller. He went over 1,000 yards his first year, 750 a second, then 1,000, then 800. He was, and he was an awesome guy. He was so nice. Talked to him. I feel like I talked to him almost every day. He came to a church function of mine that I asked him to speak at, and he came. He was awesome. But he was a baller. He was a baller. He could get open. He knew how to use his body. He was reliable. He was Joe Flacco's dude.
I love it. And I can actually speak to, while it was before my time, I can speak to one of the points that you just made, which was just like him as a human.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to catch up with him at a Be More Around Town event overseas when we were in London for the Titans-Ravens game. And I just pulled this up, and then we'll get out of here after this. But boy, did his words on this day back in October of 2023, age like fine wine as it pertains to then rookie Zay Flowers. Listen to this.
Brings a level of competitiveness that I don't think you see in many guys. I think if he gets knocked down, he's gonna get back up and start fighting. Not literally fighting, but get back out there and start fighting. Yeah. The guy's quick, he's shifty, he's fast, he catches the ball with his hands. He knows how to find open spaces in defenses. He reminds me a little bit of myself when I was his age, but he reminds me a lot of Mark Clayton. And he and Mark had the same type of play. Both of them were shifty.
Yep.
Both of them were fast. Both of them could catch excellent with their hands. At times, both of them had some lack of concentration here and there, but for the most part, they went out there and they played the game like it's supposed to be played.
Sure.
And he reminds me so much of Mark. And I enjoy watching him. I really do. I think he's going to have an excellent career if he doesn't get hurt, barring injury. I think he's going to have an excellent career. And I just said it, look, this guy is going to pass whatever records I have. He's going to blow him out the water. They're not going to let him leave Baltimore like they let Brown leave Baltimore a few years ago. This kid is here to stay.
Speaking of Zay, because he compared him, by the way, their playing styles are similar, but the personality is very different. And I think that matters, especially at the receiver position. But Bobby, another video that came out while we were out, this from Zay, was cracking me up.
During the season. I'm running straight this year, y'all. I'm running straight. No more cut. They say I be cutting too much. I'm like, yo, you see how big them niggas is out there and they running towards you like that? Shit. I'd rather cut than be sorry. And that motherfucker dead, bro. For real, though. And my shit be so fast. I be moving so fast in my head.
That's funny. Uncensored, but that's funny.
That's my bad. I forgot there were a couple curse words in there.
I love it.
He said, I'd rather cut than be dead. I also love his cuts because he ends up getting a few more yards. Remember, Hollywood would just fall. Like Zay's solution is way better. And to your point, I mean, he might be listed at 5'9", but he might be closer to 5'7" or 5'8". And his cutting is kind of what differentiates him from so many people. So I don't hate it, but there are times it's like, just run straight. I promise you're going to make it.
What's cut is his physique. That's the second time in as many days that I've said to myself, man, he looks cut. He looks in shape. And by the way, again, going back to that Derrick Mason clip, the quote that stood out, Sarah, this guy is going to pass whatever records I have. He's going to blow him out of the water. They're not going to let him leave Baltimore like they let Marquise leave Baltimore a few years ago. This kid is here to stay. That was what, a month or two into the season, his rookie year? So from Derrick Mason.
Wow.
In October of 2023. I want to say it was week 7 or so, week 6 or 7, something like that for when they played the Titans in London. So that's
he called it. Greatness knows greatness.
Not bad. Okay, let's get some super chats and get out of here.
All right.
Who do we leave off with?
I do not remember. Let me look.
Did you have this up here from Rave?
Yes, I read that.
All right, and we read this one.
Yeah.
From Dre Dog. That certainly inspired an entire segment, as he so often does this week. Douglas H. Brown Sr. says,
we are here to make you laugh, Sarah. Yeah, he meant we.
Aha.
Yeah.
Big O, celebrating 1 month of channel membership. He's a channel member. Says, Marlon spoke on the turnover issue. The true key to Baltimore winning a Super Bowl is the defense, as always. We go as the defense goes. I'm so ready for the season. Ravens 54th man, Sarah, channel member and a super chat.
Says, this won't be for the faint of heart, but I have a drinking game, LOL. Okay, I'm out. Unless it's Sprite. Okay. Take a drink every time a joke gets made about Bobby's hairline.
Your caffeine intake's going to be through the roof, and everybody else is going to be drunk if that game's played.
You know I don't drink caffeine.
Well, you just said Sprite.
Sprite doesn't have caffeine.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Sprite does not have caffeine.
How does Sprite not have caffeine?
It doesn't?
Hold on a second here. This is new to me. Sprite does not contain caffeine. It's a caffeine-free lemon lime soda similar to other non-cola sodas like 7-Up and Mountain Dew. Okay. You are going to be hopped up on sugar. I check my labels,
sir. I check my labels.
You're going to be hopped up on sugar, excuse me, and everybody else is going to be drunk with this game. There you have it.
Sugar and carbonation.
Thank you. Romy Raven, take this one while I sneeze.
He says, Henry needs $2,000 for his Adam Sandler movie role. Wait, is there something there that I don't know about?
Yeah, you know this.
No, I don't.
You might have been at maybe, gosh, were you in Switzerland during this? remember Derek went on with Dan Patrick, and they started going back and forth about how Adam is Derek's favorite actor. And Dan told him that if he eclipses 2,000 yards, he himself will get him into an Adam Sandler movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. No, I definitely didn't hear that. I would have remembered
You were in
that.
Switzerland then.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry. Paul writes Bible verse for Dre Dog, 2 Kings, 2:23 through 25.
All right, let me bring it up.
Take a look.
Let's see here. It says, and he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head.
What's the funny part?
I did not expect it to take the turn that it just took. It said, Go up, thou bald head.
Oh, I see where he's going with this. 2 Kings, great Bible verse there, Paul.
And then it says it twice. Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And anyway, I could keep going, but I think that was the main point. Oh,
Paul, aren't you the one that hit us up with all this? Weren't you traveling out in Arizona recently or something? He's sending us like wholesome content from like a Ravens flag or something from the mountains. And what does he choose to do now? He goes away from the mountainous content and decides to bury me instead with a Bible verse, mind you.
I did not expect that. But Paul's asking me in the chat to finish, so I will honor it because he wants it finished for Dre Dog. All right, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood and tare 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria. I don't know about the ending. And tare 42 children of them? I don't know. Sometimes this Bible verse I did not know off the top of my head. I can tell you that, Bobby.
Me either.
Oh, so what they're saying is the bear eats people making fun of him. So that's why he wants it at Dre Dog.
The bear eats people making fun of them. So I'm going to eat Dre Dog?
Yes, I think you're the bear. Or a bear will eat Dre Dog for mocking him.
So it sounds like Paul's running with me as I laugh to the bank.
Paul's got your back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Okay. But that was funny where it kind of came out of nowhere.
We're with you now, Paul. That took a little bit of prognosticating, didn't it?
Took a little bit of a minute to catch up on the interpretation there.
Perfect.
See, and Paul is saying, yes, we got it right. Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
Good job.
Appreciate you, Paul. He's also celebrating 1 month of channel membership and says, happy that you and Sarah enjoyed your time off. Let's go Ravens. Appreciate that, Paul. We're going to have a 3-day weekend coming up. That's why we're giving you guys 2 hours of content. And God King Japhira, Sarah.
This chat is killing me. Okay, he says it's what? Why do I always get these ones? It's Bogetta Google Gogetta. Huh? And you'll see why. Also, I sent a pre-trip email also. Oh man, we got to catch up with our emails, bro.
Pre-trip. Oh, pre-trip. Yeah.
Google Gogetta?
Oh gosh.
Are you Googling it?
No. Do you want me to?
Oh, yes.
It's Bogetta.
Here, let me go. Gogetta. Oh, Gogetta's kind of ripped. Here, I got you on Gogetta. We're off the rails again. Is that Gogetta? Yeah.
By the way, Liv is like, you got to pronounce it the same way. So it's Gogeta.
Oh, I see. I just went back to my roots. Gogeta.
Gogeta.
And did you look up Gogeta?
No.
Oh, is he saying it's? Oh, okay. Well, here, I got it. No.
So strange. Gogeta.
No, it's not. I think he's trying to get us to say Gogeta for you.
Probably.
And then Google Gogeta. Gogeta's pretty ripped.
And
it's a little bit better.
What do you think made Paul in his head think about that Bible verse?
Yeah, Paul, how did you know that Bible verse?
How did that just dawn on him?
Yeah, Paul, where did that come from? Or maybe either Paul or somebody in his life has been bald. Like I have a bald brother, and there's bald jokes all the time in my family. And so maybe he just has background with that. Paul, we need to know how you came up with that.
Yeah, we got questions about that.
We got questions. Burning questions.
P. Brownie writes, Adam sent Henry a video saying if he gets 2K, he will put him in one of his movies. Yep, and that was all because of the Dan Patrick facilitation during the interview, which was on the Dan Patrick show a few weeks back.
Paul says he just remembered the story.
Wow. Being able to pull that, it's pretty...
And Paul also wants to make clear, we're a full hair-headed family here.
Okay. All right. Make it clear. Well, 2 hours of content, covered a lot of ground. We got Brazilian butt lifts discussed. We've talked about Vegeta and some football content sprinkled in there as well. and
2 Kings 2, 23 through 25. Is that what it was?
Yeah, 2 Kings is the Bible verse that we're all, digesting now. And it took us a while to get there, but I do appreciate is that analogy? It's kind of an analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. God King for you.
He said, Sarah, ask your kids about Gogeta for context. I'll ask Aiden. I'll get too much context though. But I'll ask him. It's his birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
He'll love to talk about I almost said Pokemon. This isn't Pokemon. Anime.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, a huge happy birthday to Aiden tomorrow.
Despite yesterday's picture image.
Oh, yeah.
You're still wishing him a happy birthday? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let him
Who
know.
am I to be a thin-skinned uncle?
Not you.
It's like...
There's nothing thin-skinned about you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And a happy birthday to Troy. Troy turns 38 today. Our friend Troy Gale, who now is TGIF in the stream.
Mm-hmm,
Hopefully he enjoys his Friday. And just in case you're popping on here within the last few minutes, Sarah and I are going to take a 3-day weekend. We're going to rejuvenate ourselves and get ready for training camp, which begins for rookies on Tuesday. And then a week from that Tuesday, meaning the 22nd, is when everyone reports. I got to get myself right post-Asia. You got to get some time in with your family. And we look forward to going full throttle beginning next week on Monday with the official launch, the soft launch, I should say, of the Vault merch line. We have been working on this all offseason, Sarah. We're really excited to unveil it. Our girl Carly has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to get this thing done. And just know, if on Monday you are one of the following, Patreon member, a channel member, a Discord group member, then you get immediate access to the soft launch of our merch line. And then for everyone else, it'll be available in the coming
And we
week.
have a discount code for them, right?
We do.
Just for those members? Yeah.
Yep. And we'll be able to share all of that with you guys coming up at the beginning of next week. And here's another one for you, Dre Dog 679.
Dre Dog says, remember, we hold the keys to the chains of our minds. It's time for us all to break free and live bold. Love y'all. That's a great way to end it.
Love it. Appreciate you, Dre. You definitely deserve a hat tip for this week's content. That's for sure. Goodness gracious. You almost single-handedly kept One More Thing segments alive. So much so we don't even have any One More Things going into the weekend.
It's 2:00 and I know Brennan's waiting for our email. So
yeah, exactly. We got to jump. So Anyway, we'll miss you guys tomorrow, but hope you have an awesome long weekend. If you're traveling, if you're on the beach, if you're living lake life, whatever it might be, working, be safe, enjoy it. And Sarah and I will be back with you on Monday. We look forward to it. Thank you so much for today's live stream, all the super chats, all the gift givings, and everything else in between. If you could on the way out, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member, a Patreon member, and joining the Discord server. All that information can be found in the show notes below. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trosted signing off from this Thursday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. Enjoy your long weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday. And as always, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the vault. We'll talk to you after the weekend.